I'm so excited to invite you to be a part of the Human Design Projector Society membership. On this private platform, we will be able to have discussions, make connections with one another. We'll have our monthly gatherings there. There will be additional classes and courses and events that are going to be there. You'll be able to access human design resources, as well as meet lots of projectors from all around the world. And unlike Facebook or other public platforms, this is our space. This is a place where we will know that our content will be safe and that our conversations will also be safe. So I invite you to take a look. If you enroll, you get 3 months free. And this is so you can have a chance to really get in there and find out, is this the right community for you? And after the trial, the subscription is going to be $24 a month. It's going to give you access to human design resources, our gatherings, recordings of those gatherings, events, connections with other human design projectors, and more. So I am so excited to open the doors for you, and I can't wait to have you join me, and make sure to take advantage of this 3-month free trial, is it's not going to last forever. In fact, it's going to shift around December 21st of this year, right at the solstice. So enroll today, join our community, grow our community, watch as we build this beautiful, vibrant place where projectors come into greater power, greater possession of the incredible beauty and power of their design. We are here to advise and guide. And the more we are able to understand and truly recognize our own design, including, from the top down, from type, aura, strategy, authority, and all the way down to your definition, when you are able to take ownership of yourself in that way, then your gifts can be recognized by the world and you can genuinely fulfill your destiny as a projector. I look forward to seeing you on the inside. So don't miss out on this free 3-month trial to the Human Design Projector Society membership. There's a link in the description below. And just to give you a little bit of an idea of what's waiting for you inside, here is an excerpt from our very first Human Design Projector Society gathering. Because that's sort of where this came from, is I was just walking and talking, and I think before you came on, I was saying, I just always record into my notes app, and then I'll reread it sometimes. And anyway, it just sort of, came in like, projectors need to be around each other. We need to be seeing, we also need to see ourselves. Because I find that, because I'm a coach as well, and so working with clients, the challenge is if we don't see ourselves correctly, the world will never see us truly as we are, right? And so with projectors, because we're so naturally attuned to the other, it's like, how do we learn to turn that gift of recognition in a way that also empowers us, right? Because so much about being a projector can sound so distant initially. So the download came in, and I was like, oh, that's cool, and then I'd go for another walk, and a week later it'd be like, by the way, should be just some projector circle or something, and then over like months, it was like, do it. And, so it birthed itself. I just got out of the way essentially. And it took a year, because even at the very beginning, and I say it like, but this, whatever this information is, it said, there should be gatherings, right? Where we talk about like the, and all the, things that we need to discuss and see and learn. And it just didn't, the energy to create it did not come out. But I've learned over these last 4 years that if my body doesn't like literally have the energy to pick up the mouse and open the tab, doesn't matter how great the spontaneous realization feels, it's not right for them, right? And so it really was only just a few months ago that it all was like, okay, it's time. And yet last year is when all the themes downloaded, like the fish could be connected to the seasons, right? For the purpose of empowering our own connection to the world in which we live, which is why today's theme is liberation. Literally just a few minutes ago, we moved into, we passed the moment of balance of light and dark, right? The equinox just happened to us all. And it's in letting go even that which was very nourishing, that we spent all that energy growing and being, and harvesting, is time for us to, there is a time for us to let go, right? And to release that. And I think if you can look at that releasing as a loss, or for me, I see liberation. Because if we hold too long, even onto the things that were once good, then they lose their vitality. They lose their ability to nourish us. And so as projectors, I wanted to explore the whole theme of releasing that which might have once supported us and helped us move into life in a way that felt nourishing. But in letting go of that, what kind of liberation do we experience? Particularly, all the things we've all been sharing about being projectors. Like initially, when you learn about being a projector, it might feel the opposite of liberating, right? I feel like this sucks, right? Ooh. But yeah, when we really come heart to heart with the true nature of the beauty and the power of this design that we have, then we move into a place of liberation. This is our very first gathering. So I want to thank all three of you for sharing this moment with me, this transition into, the new season of life. We could just talk the whole time. And I did have some things I wanted to show you, these quotes from Ra about projectors, because when I first started hearing Ra's messages, and I'd love to hear from all of us, here we go. This was the quote from Ra that I found quite different from the standard stuff. Like if you have the book, the definitive book or something, or you've watched his videos on YouTube, I don't remember hearing this kind of messaging, which is, I'm just going to read it, even though I'm not a fan of reading slides for having slides read for me, but I just will give it a voice. We're in an age now where it's time for the projector to take on his role as a leader. And, that is a huge part of the message I got when it was time, like encouraging me to create this society. It is the time for us to take on our role, but we'll never be able to do that if we can't see ourselves, right? And there's so much that gets in the way of us seeing ourselves that has nothing to do with us, right? But everything to do with that external conditioning. So we're not leaders in the manifesting sense, right? But we are guides. And one of the dilemmas that we have is how long it takes to wake us up to the possibility that there is something that is them, that is us, rather than what we get through the other. Because as we've already all shared, it's so easy to focus in on and explore the energy field and the aura and the being of the other. How do we then also wake up to the them, the thing that is us, right? We're here to understand deeply how and where energy should be used. That's why we are the ideal guide and advisor for specifically generators. Because Ra's saying here that the way our aura is focused actually invites openness. So we really don't ever escape the conditioning forces around us. Nor I think it's he even says it, but like I think it's obvious that we're never going to escape the influencing conditions because our aura is always out there getting into everyone else's energy field. So how can you get away from that, right? You can't. And so we learn that we don't have to protect ourselves by not being conditioned or influenced by others. We learn the correctness of our role in relationship to those energies and influences. So the very strategy that we have is an indication of the natural demand for respect that projectors deserve, which I found to be really profound. Our strategy, which is recognizing whether the invitation is correct for us, recognizing whether we are being recognized, that is an indication of this natural demand for respect that projectors deserve. And I have never in any other place heard it phrased this way, which is why I made this post for our group, because he says you have to surrender to demanding respect. Which I just found like, yes, this is the secret to the power of being a projector that has nothing to do with using force, not even sacral force, has everything to do with emanating a sense of power, a source within us. And then I think this is the last one. So when we enter into the beginning of our own self-recognition, and we can't guide if we don't know how this game is working, is what his words. And the moment that we understand how the game works, that's the moment we find our power. And so the moment we understand this is the game, that's when waiting for recognition indication stops being disempowering and starts being an incredibly powerful choice that we definitely. Natty, I know you didn't know, but we've had, Natty and I work together on lots of projects and our study together and things like that. And I just loved when you shared this one time in our WhatsApp group. Recognition is compassionate, non-judgmental acceptance and love for ourselves and the other. It's respecting our own sovereignty and that of the other. It's respecting and celebrating our unique differences while understanding that we are all interconnected and interdependent. It just felt like one of the best explanations for those of us on the cross of what recognition, particularly self-recognition, right? We're not saying we're better because we don't need to. We're simply saying we have a specific and unique way of being that is equally vital and important, even though we're not in the majority, right?
Yeah, I wanted to say something. I know from everything that you shared really resonated and I loved all of it. I think you're right. I think like at the foundation as a projector, we have to understand how rare we are in society, in the world, and that we're here to be unique, to be advisors, to be leaders, and that's a big deal. And we have to, I guess, have our lives set up to be able to do that, and that involves understanding our design, our power, our authority. Um, and also, I remember Ross saying at one point that we're here to master systems. So the more knowledge that we have on various topics, not just whatever our profession is or whatever our service is, but on various topics, I think the deeper knowledge we have, the more service that we can be to people. Because the invitation might not just come from your career. It could come from just meeting someone in the grocery store and they just recognize you. Wow, this person is different, or I'm noticing their energy, and then you draw a conversation. So another thing too, like how you were saying, the how we're never truly gonna like decondition all the way because we're going to be around generators and manifestors at some point or another throughout the day. So it feels like deconditioning is sort of like an ongoing process. You're not gonna fully be like isolated enough to shed all the layers. I think the longer you stick with human design, the more benefits you see over time, you know. Um, so yeah, anyways, those were just some of my thoughts. But
Yeah.
yeah, I loved everything you shared so far.
Yeah, thank you for sharing that. Yeah. We're talking about some of these ideas of what it is to self-recognize as a projector, also how it is to not be able to escape conditioning, right? And to understand that the conditioning is actually a part of our superpower, which is a weird way to think of it. But when we understand its nature and our own nature, then it actually becomes a source of power for us. So Aurelia or Natty, did you guys have something you wanted to share?
I was curious about what you just say. How we can make this conditioning being a kind of superpower. How do we surrender to that? Very concretely, how we do that. I'm very curious.
Well, I do love that you use the word surrender because you told us that the channel of surrender is your one defined channel. So of course that makes total sense. I love that. Yeah, well, it's again, it's probably that 43, that 2343 going, just say it. I can't tell you why. No, but what I can say is that everything that we each of us possess, whether it's an element of our individual design or whether it's being a projector, can either limit and constrain and weaken us, or it can empower us and create vitality, right? And so it really is awareness. And lucky for us, projectors are awareness beings, right? So awareness is our superpower. And so when we are aware of how much we're being conditioned by others, right? How much that's affecting us, then that's all you need. You just, and if probably my sixth line says, well, just get on the roof and look down, right? I get that. But when we recognize that we cannot engage in a relationship with another person without their aura affecting us. And as Ra has described it, we don't just feel them, we ingest them. We're taking them in the way we would take food into our body. So if you've eaten some bad food, you will not feel good. Likewise, if you're in a room with someone who is just not in a good place, not maybe coming from any sense of awareness, right? They're going to feel as bad to your body as some spoiled food would end up being. But what we would have done, what I did, I'm 62 now, but so very new to discovering these awarenesses about my nature. But all those other years, I would immediately assume that I had done something, right? I had somehow created that, caused that, been some factor in it. Maybe I didn't understand them right. Maybe I did. So rather than turning on myself now, when I experience the conditioning of another, I can say, oh, okay, well, there's some bad food. Okay. I know that didn't taste good. And if I know their chart, even better, because then I can go right there, right? Or obviously it's a combination of elements and things like that. But anyway, yeah. So just where does that take you when you hear that?
No, I was I saw on your chart that you have a lot of sort of uncolored one. I have, except my spleen and heart, the wheel center, everything is blank for me too. So I'm very prone to conditioning from everywhere. So I've dubbed everything, even myself. So if someone tells me that I'm ugly, stupid, and I will not double guess it. No, I can, because I know a bit more. But in the past, I will just take it in, like, especially as a child and adolescent, it was just awful, because whatever you say. But I was quite fortunate that most of the people around me were kind, but even the few one being unkind, I was taking in everything, adapting everything with no sense of self. Or
Yeah, the openness. I mean, if I can just say, Natty, she has one channel from the head center to the ajna. And mental projectors are so unique, even among projectors. Like our last teacher said that Ra almost made them a fifth type, because there's this uniqueness to them. So
aliens.
So when it comes to openness, and also because when you're a mental projector, your authority is environmental. And so the rest of us, we've got somewhere to go inside where we go, what's that telling me, right? But Natty, please share whatever you feel inspired to share about that.
Yeah, sure. First of all, I just want to thank you both for Elia and Salam, for sharing your experiences with conditioning, and also Zet, because I like what you're saying, especially for Elia, about how like you were surrounded by kind people, but just even like certain words, people saying like, oh, you're, I don't know, some judgment. Like immediately when I was a kid, that would just become me. And I would like a sort of like take that in so deeply. And so for me, a lot of deconditioning has been about figuring out where I end and the other person begins. I feel like that's huge for a projector, because we are so sensitive to other people's energies. I think for many projectors, it can be really hard to know, like, oh, that's them, and then this is me. So yeah, when I think about deconditioning, that's the first thing that comes to mind, is like the awareness that Zet was naming, to know like, oh no, what they're saying is just what they're saying. It's not actually who I am, and to not let it affect us and our self-worth. And instead be able to use that perception, that awareness, as a way to then guide and lead and help other people. just like Salam was saying, like, you know, we are destined to be guides and leaders, and that's like a really big deal. So yeah, to me, that's kind of like what the process of healing is like for a projector, is like when we can recognize ourselves and how we're different from the other person, and then use our sensitivity as a way to be a leader and to, yeah, contribute to the collective. And as for being a mental projector, yeah, like I definitely feel like even among projectors, sometimes it's hard to connect or to relate, because most projectors have a source of inner wisdom, inner authority, right? Like, so for you, for Elia, it's your spleen, and then for Salam, it's your emotional authority, and then for the two SPPs, it's the G center. But for a mental projector, I think sometimes they even call it no inner authority, which I don't know if I like, because I do think that like I can make my own decisions, but just to recognize that I'm so sensitive to the people around me, and that has been such a learning and a surrender in itself. So yeah, thanks for reminding me to share that.
Oh, absolutely. I echo what you said earlier. It's cool that we have such a variety of, you know, profiles, designs, and crosses. Correct me if I'm wrong, Natty, but like projectors have the most possibility of the most kind of complexity as a group, because we have 5 different authorities that are possible for us, right? If you're a generator, you got 2. You're either that one or that one, right? You can be a manifesting generator, but still your authority is going to be the emotional or the sacral. Reflectors have 1 authority, right? To follow the lunar cycle as it debates their particular design. Manifestors can have 1, 2, what is it? Two authorities, right? 3. No, because you can be an emotional manifestor, right? Emotional, ego, horse planet. So they have 3. So yeah, when you have these possibilities of 12 different profiles, 5 different authorities, all, you know, different definition possibilities, it's pretty wide open. And so to be able to embrace not the diversity within our unity as projectors, right? And I think projectors are potentially uniquely gifted in that the ability to do that, because we are interested in other without meaning to be. We don't even try. Right? We just can't help it. So I think we have that capacity to be very curious about a greater diversity of people even within our own type. Maybe that's my opinion from my 1762.
Just to build on what you were saying, is that I think like with projectors, you can have just one channel, like me and Frelia, with just 2 centers defined, but you can also have 8 centers defined and still be a projector, right? So it's like food for thought, like just how different we can be.
For sure. Oh my gosh, absolutely. Yeah, and then you've got, you know, split definition, single definition, you know, side split, triple split, all those things that, you know, go into that.
Thank you. It was really nice to hang together, you know, with a fellow projector, and yeah, and also having this bright vision that you give, you know, to see when you are aware, see the other side of the coin, so that we are not, you know, in this bitterness, or, you know, like Ra saying that we can be a kind of depressed profile if we don't, you know, embody our authority and our profile. So thank you so much for organizing this.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel the same way. I just want to say thank you for creating this group. I love my fellow projectors, so I always feel so like connected and seen, and all these wonderful deep conversations. So it's nice to have community, you know, and then to appreciate like each of our own unique gifts, and just to really talk about what it feels like to be a projector. So so yeah, I enjoyed it, and I plan on joining the other monthly groups that you have offered for the rest of the year. So it was lovely meeting all of you guys, and thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I look forward to, you know, we got 7 of them planned out, just ready and waiting to kind of jump into. So we'd love to see you again and hear more from you. Sunny, did you have any thoughts you wanted to share with us before we go?
Yeah, for sure. Thanks for having the space. Sorry I'm late. I didn't get the whole everything. But yeah, thanks for having it. So it's going to be the calls here and then the email. That's the way that you communicate generally, or is there like another aspect that I'm missing?
Oh, are you asking if the meeting info will be in email?
Yeah, because I got it. I was there was an email that said join the Zoom, but then I heard them mention the group. Is this like?
Oh, okay. Yeah. You know what? I will send a follow-up email and I'll include the link to the Facebook group in case you.
Oh, I'm not on there.
No worries. No worries at all.
Uh,
I don't even think you're worrying at all. Yeah,
okay.
that's it.
Okay.
We'll send the handout with the list of the fear gates with the schedule just for your own reference. And
Okay. Yeah.
yeah, and at the beginning we had some quotes from Ross, so I'm happy to include those as well, just for reference. So
Thank you.
yeah, so this is awesome to see projectors all around the world. It's so fun. Just know that we're all here, and it's when we're surrounded pretty much by generators, right? As we've all mentioned, it can feel a little bit lonely, a little bit isolating. But to know that there is not just a reason why we're different, but a really powerful purpose for our difference. And that it does not need to limit us into this disempowered wait for recognition imitation, which we really need to go into that, don't we, Ned? The whole language around this strategy. So for now, if you can, and I'll send that one slide, surrender to demanding respect. Right? Surrender to demanding respect. And it really even starts with ourselves, that we respect ourselves, that we respect that there's nothing wrong with us for not having a defined sacral center or the energy to go there. There's nothing wrong with us that we're not manifestors to initiate out of thin air, right? There is the respect that we can give ourselves is, again, it's like the conditioning doesn't make me frail or weak. It allows me to fulfill my identity as an advisor who can guide powerfully when I'm able to be rooted in the truth of who I am, which just takes time and presence. So we're here for that. We're here to support you, and we're so excited. All right. Everyone, be well, take care, and we'll see you in a month. But reach out anytime with questions. And also, if you want us to look at your chart, you are welcome to send me the birth info. And we'll at some point be doing some chart explorations. So look forward to that too.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thanks,
Bye, guys.
Seth. This was awesome.